Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So firstly, my name is Nuridin Adamia binti Muhammad Halim, matric number DE190164. And for this lab 2 MRIB, I will present the 7.1.1 and 7.1.2 question. So in this question, we are required to load the program at the ISP software, run and observe the result. So here is the ladder diagram from 7.1.1 that I need to build at the ISP software. So here is the ISP software and the ladder diagram that I have been built based on the question. So next we run to see the output. So we have X0 and X1, also YO. So X0 and X1 is the input, the button, and it is a normally closed button. So as we all know that normally closed button is where the current can go through it. So the output will be on. And normally closed button is an inverting. So when we switch on the button, the output is off. So normally close button need to always off to make sure that the current can go through the rung. That's mean if the button is normally closed, there is no need to activate it because the current already can go through to make the output on or activate. So that's all for question 7.1.1. Okay, so we continue with the question 7.1.2, and this is the diagram from the question. We have 2 input for the network 1 and 1 output, and 3 input for the network 2 with 1 output. So first we will run the diagram to see the result. Okay, as you can see here, after we run the diagram, then both output did not activate or on. It is because we have a normally open button at the first part at the rung for both network. So when we have normally open button, current cannot go through the rung to make the output activate. So here we only have one normally closed button. So to make the output active, we need to activate the normally open button. So we just switch on the button to make the current can go through the rung and activate the output. So here we will switch on the X3 and also X5. So we doesn't need to activate the X4 since it is a normally closed button where current can go through the button. So we just activate these 2 button. So the output can activate also. So that's all from me for question 7.1.1 and question 7.1.2. Thank you.
My name is Zaira binti Abu Zaki. My matrix number is CE2K51. I'm going to present the question 7.1.3. So the question asks, with a given ladder diagram, we need to test our input for as network 1 and network 2 to see the output based on our truth table. So here is my truth table for network 1 and network 2. So we'll be testing this with the simulations. So here is my simulations for this part for the network 1. So as we can see for the case 1, this is the output when all of our input is in 0 conditions, and our output for these two will be not turning on. Then for the case 2, we can see when our contact X1, which is in normally open, we force on, and then for our X2 we also force off, and for our x4 and x5, it is in normally closed, which is in initial state, and our x3 is in normally open, and then both of our input will be turning on. Moving on, for the case C, we can see when our x1 we force on, and then for our x2 is in the normally closed condition, uh, and for x3 also we force on, while our x4 and x5 is in the initial we force off. We force on, means that both our output will be turning on. Next, for the network 2, so it only has two contacts and one output, and it is connected in series. So when we for the case D, when both of our input is in a zero condition, we'll get a zero output, which is this is in the initial state of the contact exit, which is normally closed, and this is normally open, so it will get 0, which is not turning on. And then when the case D is both of our input is 1, which is we force on the contact x6 and on for the x7, so our output will not turning on. And then lastly, for our case F, both for the contact x6, we it is in the initial state, and for the contact x7 we force on, and our contact will be turning on.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Fakira binti Muhammad Zahri and my metric number is CE200212. So I will proceed for the last question, which is 7.14. So here the circuit for last question, and we need to draw it to SIP software. So here the circuit that I create on ISP software from the lab sheet. We can see here that we have 8 input, which is from x0 till x7, and one output is yy0. Then I just go through, we run the PLC simulation. Before that, here I already start the state for driver 1. So I just go through by run the simulation. Yes. And then click online mode. Okay, here in this circuit right now, all the input is off, which it means it's 0. Here you can see the light for x2, x5, x0, but actually the device is off. The light have here because for these 3 input actually normally closed. Normally closed is the deposit compared to normally open, where for normally open, if we do not have a light here, it went off. But for normally closed, it will light up when the device is off. For the test one, all the input is off, which is 0. And then we see here that the output also 0. And then I will do the second test, which is we force on for x1 and also for x2. Sorry, x3. Here we can see that the output is 1. So for the truth table here, x1 and x3 is 1, and for the rest is 0. So the output also 1 here. For the second test, I will force off for x1, but on for x3. Here the output is activate, which is make it 1. And the third test that I would like to do is by I will on for x1, close for x3, but on for x1, and on also for x7. Here we can see that the output not active, which is 0. And the test for the last, in which I on all the input. So for normally close here, we force on. So you can see they have no light for normally close. So we see here, when I on all the input, which is 1 for x0 till x7, so the output also here is 1, which is the output is activate. So for all 5 tests that I show before, here that I can conclude that for the first case that I call case A, all the input is 0, so the output also 0. And for B, I on for x1 and x3, then the output give 1. And for the third case, I on for x3 and x7, the output also activate. But for fourth case, I on x1 and x4 and x7, but the output is not active, which 0. This is related to with the parallel circuit, and also they have or not PLC. And the last test that I did, which is on all the input, and of course the output also activate. That's all for us. Thank you.
My name is Zaira binti Abuzaki. My matrix number is CE2K51. I'm going to present the question 7.3, which asks to modify the previous question 7.1.3 so that lamp Y0 or Y1 will always on. So the first solution that we did is we change the contact X1 from normally open to the normally closed, so that the current will go into the ladder diagram. Secondly, what we did, we put the new contact which is normally open before the output of Y0. So why we did this? Because the question 1, lamp Y0 or Y1 will always on. So if we put the contact X6 here, only Y1 will always on. But if we want both of the contact to be turned on, we just have to force on the contact X6. That's all. Thank you.